He's back, baby. Woo! I need Ountae to hold me like Simba in The Lion King. Travis Thomas back on Hold My Banner. Speaking of which, I am back with the walking, talking, triple-double himself, Ountae Campbell. What do you think? Can you give me a little Simba in The Lion King?
Nah, I had a different song in mind, though. You know what I had?
What's that?
Baby, Travis back.
Hey.
Baby, he's back. Yeah.
Come on.
We're here to cater to you.
Yeah, I like that. Yours had more harmony in it. I could dig it, man. How you doing, man? I'm really glad to be back, Tay. I missed you. I missed everyone who showed love to me here on Hold My Banner, and I know you've been holding it down, Tay. You and George been holding it down.
Yeah, me and George have been holding it down, and you know who else has been holding it down while you've been gone?
Who?
The Connecticut Sun,
Facts.
Travis. They're up 1-0, obviously.
Yeah.
The game is going to be out once we
Yes.
haven't seen
As
it.
of now.
As of we're recording, they're up 1-0 on the links. Obviously, game 2 will be happening by the time this episode comes out. Hopefully, they're up 2-0, and then they're coming back to win in game 3 in Connecticut on Friday. So that's what we're hoping for.
Bro, you and I deserve some credit if that plays out because we called it, and in fact, most of these games in the regular season against the Liberty, we said we could see a Sun-Liberty matchup. It's inevitable, and it looks like, Tay, we could end up with that. So we deserve kudos if it does happen. I also want to quickly give a shout-out to your friend Eve, who I ran into at Fenway at a Sox game. She recognized me, came up, we talked. She said she knew you. Loves Hold My Banner, watches the show, so shout-outs to her as well.
Yeah, I'm feeling very musical now that my boy's back, you know. Who's that girl?
Hey, Eve!
La, la, da, 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 da. You know, so
I love it, man.
Shout out to you.
All right, Tay, we'll bring you back because you know, as we've been doing before I left and since I've been gone, I know you guys have been doing it, we preview all the teams in the league. So we'll bring you back. We're going Knicks and Bucks today, who I actually want to talk about both. So we'll get into this. I first want to say, you know, I've already mentioned how much I missed all of you, but one of the reasons I wanted to come back so bad right now was because I went to Celtics Media Day, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you since, and it's been killing me. I've been dying to talk to you just from what I have observed from that Celtics Media Day. Now, if you notice, all the teams around the league now have had theirs, right? And we're seeing all the clips come out and all the sound bites, media day for this team and that team. And look, I'll be honest, all of them, every single team I've seen, except the Celtics, boring. What have been the storylines? Where's the juice? Where's the energy? How are you getting me interested? I mean, so far, all I've seen that's kind of noteworthy and a good video was Zion walking out of his press conference because some loser in the media kept pressing him on his playlist. I was like, well, why don't you have Kendrick Lamar on your playlist? Zion's like, really, bro? Am I doing this? I just lost all this weight. I'm in great shape. We have expectations around here, and you're asking me about some damn Kendrick Lamar? Boop, got up, walked out. I thought that was entertaining. How about out in L.A.? You seen that love fest between father and son? Bronny and my dad, we're so excited to be on the blah, 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 bruh. We know your dad's a baller. You shouldn't even be here. You should be in the G League developing your skills. But, I mean, not the Celtics Media Day. Everyone wanted a piece of the champs. And there was drama. I mean, the first questions out of the gate, Derek White sits down. They ask him about getting punched. What? Jalen Brown sits down. Hey, man, are you still ticked off about Team USA? You know, you get Tatum, of course. Are you still mad at Steve Kerr? How do you feel? I mean, it's interesting. This team's interesting. And I thought about this coming in today, where I say, you know, I started thinking about my career in covering basketball. When my career first started, and I was just a young lad, I mean, I covered some of the biggest brands in college basketball in that DMV area, Georgetown, Maryland, UVA, all those college teams, as which happens in college hoops and football. you sort of have a larger-than-life head coach. And the team generally feeds off of that. So in my case, I was covering Maryland for years. Gary Williams, who won a national championship with that program, was intense. He would sweat out of suits on the reg. Every game, he sweat out of his suit. He was intense. He's yelling. He's cussing. He had won a championship. He was on that pedestal. And those press conferences, I can remember being there like it was yesterday. It was quiet. It was intense. Everyone was hanging on his every word. And the team was like that. Kind of boring. Yeah, our coach gets all the headlines, all the spotlight, but the team was boring, even though they were good. And continually in March Madness every year. But the coach was the star. Then I worked my way up to the pros in the D.C. market. I was there for the drafting and the entire John Wall saga, we'll call it, in D.C. And then I saw the short but expensive ascension of Bradley Beal as well towards the end. I mean, no coach, no culture, a mess. Still is. It's an S show. And so I say all that to say, I feel so fortunate to be here now in Boston covering a championship team, not just because they won a championship finally after knocking on the door, not just because of all the pedigree and the history and the Celtic pride, although that's a big part of it, but mainly because I've learned over the years you can sort of get the DNA of a team or the pulse of a team early on in the media, in these media days, in these early games, in these exhibition games, being at these press conferences, listening to the sound, asking the questions. You do learn a lot about a team. And I've noticed now with this Celtics team, who is so damn interesting. Yes, they're great on the floor, and we all love it. And we'll get into this, we all, I believe, think this team could repeat, could be banner 19. But let's table that. They're interesting. They're likable guys. They all have personalities. And from what I've learned, and as I just laid out, a lot of times teams take on the identity of their head coach. I think we're seeing that now, which brings me to Joe Mazzulla. Think about this. Let's just go back. Let's rewind a bit. Turn back the clock. The scandal with Ime Udoka would have crippled certain teams, many teams in this league. Not the Celtics. Steady hand. Brad Stevens, brain trust. Hey, you know what? It's unfortunate what happened. They didn't give us much in the media of what happened. We kind of had to go and be internet sleuths and figure it out ourselves, right? But for the most part, they pivoted beautifully. They didn't panic, hired from within a young, hungry coach with a unique personality. We'll go unique personality in Joe Mazzulla. And now look, I mean, every soundbite, every interview, everything, it's uniquely Joe Mazzulla. And we just kind of laugh at it. We in the media say, he's quirky. It's a little strange. Players laugh it off. Oh, it's just Joe being Joe. They laugh at it. He's earned their respect the same way Ime had earned their respect and had this team playing at a championship level. But unlike Ime, Joe, give him credit. Lord knows I've been hard on him. But you got to give him credit. He got it done. He got the ring. Ime couldn't get it done. Say what you want. He couldn't. Joe did. And so now, this team, everybody's loosey-goosey. You can see the pressure off of this team. You can see it. It's palpable. When you're in the room with these guys, you feel it. No pressure, happy-go-lucky. Everyone is themselves, and it's celebrated. It's not the Belichick way. This team, personalities are out. Everyone's smiling. That's what winning does. That's what championships do. So I'm here for it. I love that this team, if nothing else, yes, we'll see maybe a repeat run. I do believe that. I know many of you do. But credit to this core group. Credit to Joe Mazzulla. Credit to the Celtics organization. They are interesting and they are fun. And in this current NBA, that has to matter as well as winning. All right, now, speaking of that, How about the Knicks rolling the dice, trying to take out the Celtics? And Ountae and I were texting over the weekend when this proposed trade, we're still waiting for it to get approved. Everyone believes it will. But for the Knicks trading for Cat. And Ountae and I were texting about this, and I just said, listen, I was not shocked at all. I at least understand the move here by the Knicks. But one of the reasons I wasn't shocked, and it didn't move me, and the same way I think a lot of people did, where they're like, oh, the Knicks did what? Oh, my God. I mean, come on. The 76ers did the same thing with Paul George. I mean, the Bucks did the same thing with Dame. Now, they were ahead of the curve, right? And it didn't work, at least in year one of that iteration with Giannis and Dame. But they rolled the dice. That's what you're supposed to do. So, although I understand what the Knicks have done, I understand what the Sixers have done, I understand what the Bucks have done, I still don't believe it will be enough to get you over that Celtics hump in the Eastern Conference. But I respect that these teams are doing that, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? The champ's there right in front of you. You took your best shot at them. You didn't have enough. You got to go get enough, or what you think is enough. You know, in the end, I like the Celtics to repeat Banner 19 loading simply because their core group in Boston is in their prime. I like Dame. I like Karl-Anthony Towns. I like Paul George. Boy, it's a lot of miles there, isn't it? A lot of playoff disappointments, too. I mean, that's one thing. I'm not saying these guys are long in the tooth, although Dame's getting there. But for the most part, it's just mileage. And you've seen many of these guys time and time again in the postseason come up short. So I'll take the Celtics here to get it done again. You know, we've said this before on the show as we bring Ountae back in here. I mean, you know, I don't know how many titles this iteration of the Celtics will rattle off, will win. I do have confidence that they'll get one more right now this season. I think we are starting a championship, run it back here. And then after that, new owner comes in. I don't know. Do you look at the books? All these bills are due. Do you start moving pieces? Maybe. So I'm not as comfortable to feel like this could be the new Golden State, for example. But I do think they will get a repeat this season. And I can't wait, Tay. I mean, we're right here. It's perfect timing for me to come back, Tay, right now, season ready to start. And we're going to run it back maybe potentially with the Celtics here. But we understand as we preview both, hey, look, the Knicks and the Bucks are going to be standing in their way, Tay.
Yeah, to go on the Celtics repeat thing, I had an epiphany this morning.
Oh.
And this is where I stand. So repeat is really difficult.
It is.
And we've said that. This is a rare situation, though, for the Celtics. I will say that, where a team that goes in that won somehow has a bigger chip on their shoulder coming into the next season. So that I will give them credit for that. Yep. But historically in the NBA, it's taken at least one top 10-ish all-time player to be able to repeat. You look at the Lakers who repeat. You even look at, the Chicago, the Celtics. You know what I mean? With Bird and, Russell and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So the only team that we really look at as a dynasty, right, that hasn't repeated is the Spurs. Mm-hmm. And they were a dynasty that didn't repeat, and they have a top 10-ish player with Tim Duncan in that conversation, right, all time.
Yep.
So my thing is the Celtics don't have that right now. I love Tatum. I love Brown. I don't see them as where their career is now and where it looks like it's going as ending as a top 10 conversation all-time player in NBA history. Mm-hmm. And that's not saying that they're good players. They're Hall of Famers. They're going to be Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they're there yet. So that's where I get a little nervous because I'm looking back in history and I'm saying Shaq, Kobe, top 10-ish players. Jordan, top 10-ish player. Magic, top 10-ish player. Kareem, top 10-ish player. Those are the teams that repeated.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So I'm a little nervous on that from that standpoint, but I do agree still that the Celtics will get it done this year, and if they don't, that second apron's coming. I don't think this team can get it done 5 years from now.
Dog, even if they do, that second apron is coming.
It's coming.
Listen, here's where I'll push back because you bring up a great point about having that top 10 star in the game, right?
Yes.
For teams that have repeated. That's the context of our conversation.
Yes.
I'll push back a bit, and it actually flows perfectly into my open here, Tay, of this is where I'll give Joe Mazzulla credit, even though I've been hard on him since he's taken the job, of the culture here is team. As good as Tatum, as good as Brown are, Brad Stevens was smart enough to see it ahead of time.
Yep.
Tatum's great. He needs help, right? Yep. Brown's great. Got to get him help. You go get a Drew Holiday. You go get a Porzingis, et cetera. So I look at this as this is culture here with the Celtics. What Mazzulla, what Brad Stevens, and that brain trust has put together as a franchise, this is a team. We saw it last season. I mean, as corny as it sounds to say, well, you don't need a star, you just need a team. Yeah. That's usually BS, as you just laid out, at least for teams that repeat. Yeah. But I do think this team buys into that concept of it's we over me.
I agree. And the thing about history and records are they're meant to be broken.
What facts?
You know what I'm saying? So if any team can do it and not have those, and maybe Tatum does or Brown does.
Right. They ascend, right?
Maybe they do ascend to that level.
Brown looked like it in the finals, did he not?
And he looks like he's really locked in. He looks like he's going to be a better player than he was last year. You know what I mean? Just continue on that greatness that we saw throughout the playoffs for him. So maybe he does ascend. You know what I mean? And this will be a testament to that if they do repeat. Like, hey, maybe these dudes are a lot better than we're giving them credit for it. Yeah. And I already value them very, very highly. One other thing I want to say about your open, and then we'll move on to the Bucks preview. You said oh boy, here we go. It was boring.
Here we go.
Media day, NBA media day.
Let me guess. You like Bronny and LeBron hugging?
Forget that. Who cares?
And singing just the two of us, Will Smith and Jaden Smith version. You like that, right?
Snore. Anyways, you don't like that Love's in the Air in the NBA? They asked Dame about Glorilla.
I saw that. Bam, too.
Taylor Rooks with the A''.
I did
amazing.
See that.
You know what I'm saying? So what's up? You didn't like that?
Here's why I did like the questions.
Okay.
I didn't like the answers.
The answers are boring.
I mean, Dame goes, keep my personal life. Like, bro, have fun with it. And then your boy Bam just laughed. Like, see you later. I got practice.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody engage with this. I mean, my God, I look for anything to argue with you about or start some drama. And I love you, Tay, but it makes for good. It's good content. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
These players are boring. It's just a mess. That's why I like the Celtics, because there's storylines, there's drama, there's energy, there's juice. Your coach is crazy. It's awesome. Now, I do know this. You know, the East right now feels, at least in the offseason, and even now, like with the Knicks, with what they're trying to do with Cat, feels to me a lot like an arms race. And you heard me talk about 76ers, Knicks, Bucks rolling the dice here. So let's talk about some of these teams standing in the way of this repeat run for the Celtics. Today, I know we're going to talk Bucks and we're going to talk Knicks, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So let's start off with the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right.
And then we'll get a special guest coming for the Knicks. You guys are ready for that one.
That's going to be loud and crazy. I already know. I already know he's turned up.
Yeah, he's ready. He's definitely ready. But all right, the Bucks. You talked about Dame, him being boring and blah, 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 whatever. You know, obviously it's been well documented how poor the Bucks were last year.
Yes.
And they got a coach fired halfway through the season, brought in Doc Rivers. Do you think this Bucks team is any different than the team that we saw last year?
No, I think, and rightfully so, I'll give them some credit here. I don't just want to sit up here and bash teams and tell you how great the Celtics are, even though I do think they're going to repeat. I think the Bucks played this right. You know, everything was very helter-skelter, it felt like. You bring in Dame, the expectations are way up here. It's like a roller coaster, Tay. Expectations are high, naturally. Oh, man, you have Giannis and Dame together, and to your point earlier, you know, about having two stars who are top 10. I mean, certainly Giannis is there, and Dame once upon a time, you could argue was as well.
Not all time, but yes.
Well,
top
not
10
all time.
in the NBA.
Current. Let's just go current, right?
Current, right.
Yeah,
yes.
not all time.
Right.
But I looked at that, and they blame the coach, and they run him out of town, and then Doc comes in, and Doc's trying to figure it out. It just didn't work, at least early. It didn't work. So rightfully so here for the Bucks. No splashy moves in the offseason.
Yeah.
And you just have an offseason together. I mean, like, let's have some cohesion here. I think that is the offseason. Mm-hmm. And now you come back in. Health was an issue for them as well down the stretch, obviously.
Yeah.
You come back in. Now you're healthy. You've had a full offseason. You know the expectations with Doc. You've had a full offseason with him in training camp and preseason, then the whole 9. Yep. And then you roll the ball out and you play. So I wasn't impressed with the Bucks offseason because, quite frankly, it felt to me they literally did nothing. But at the same time, they needed what they got this offseason, which was cohesion, rest. Let's learn our system. And now I think, Tay, we'll get a true feel for if this is going to work or not. Because year one, Giannis and Dame didn't. That's a fact. Let's see now with a full offseason if it works or not. If it doesn't after this, you got to move on. You have to.
Yeah, I'm with you. Here's where I am with this Bucks team, right? I think that they did a lot of addition by subtraction, right?
Okay.
Here's my thing, right? They got rid of Adrian Griffin. However you felt about him, it is what it is. Yeah. Now having a full offseason of a head coach that's going to rock with them throughout the entire season.
That's right.
Helps.
Yes.
Whether you like Doc Rivers or you don't, that helps.
Of course.
People were really, really upset with Malik Beasley and his output for the team last year.
Yep.
So getting Gary Trent, who is on paper not a better shooter, but he's on par as a shooter. He's a little bit, just I would say more locked in defensively from what I saw from him in Toronto last year and from what I saw from Beasley this past season with the Bucks. Now, historically, I would say that Beasley's been a better defender, but for some reason, there was a lot of clips online of this dude standing straight up and down and letting dudes drive right past him.
Wow.
And so, I think having those dudes come in and be here and be ready and locked in, and guys that want to, win at a high level with Rivers obviously being here for a full year and Trent coming in and being ready and locked in after playing on a bad Toronto Raptors team last season.
Right.
He's going to be excited to be on a team that has championship pedigree.
Yep.
So I like that. I like the Taurean Prince ad. I think he's going to be a great player for them this year, this full entire season, because they need a guy who's going to be locked in 3-and-D, and I think he brings a lot of that.
He does.
And, I just hope that we get Dame locked in for a full season.
Yeah.
We know he had to deal with a lot of off-the-court issues last year. He was scared. We've heard he was scared to work out in the summer because he didn't want to get hurt because of the trade was looming and all this other stuff.
Right.
Hopefully he fully got a full summer of working out. We know he sat and watched and was in and out of a lot of games during the playoffs. They lost, whatever. Hopefully he had the opportunity to get healthy, and now they're locked in.
I think that's well said, but I tell you what, Ountae, I'll take it a step further because you're right in what you're saying, but my take is I don't trust Dame to do that. Listen, at this stage of his career, it's clear that it's becoming increasingly hard for him to stay healthy, A. B, there are no more excuses now. What you and I just laid out with this Bucks offseason, you like some of the additions. I hear you. It ain't moving the needle for me.
No, I get that.
It ain't moving the needle for me. But with that being said, the pressure is really on Dame now.
Yes.
Giannis has his ring. He is a god in Milwaukee forever, and he should be.
Yeah.
I've been there. Curds, brats, spotted cow beer. Yeah. That's it. So Giannis should be a god there forever. Dame, I mean, all I've heard, and I'm guilty of this. I've made excuse after excuse for years for Dame time. Yeah. Oh, if he wasn't stuck in Portland, he chose that, bro. Like, I can't defend that. He chose that.
He did.
And I tell this story every time, and I'll never stop till I'm blue in the face. This dude had the opportunity at least to flirt with Boston.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, we sit here in this town And we call out Jason Tatum for not standing up for Jalen Brown during the Team USA drama. Jason Tatum was on buildings, on rooftops, screaming at the top of his lungs, Dame, we want you here, man. Come eat lobster rolls. Chill in Boston. And Dame poo-pooed the idea of coming to Boston. Remember that?
Yeah, he did.
I remember. So, look, man. Hey, bro, you're running out of excuses, man. If you can't stay healthy this year and you can't win a couple playoff series and go on a deep playoff run, something you've never done, and this team, this franchise traded for you to get the job done, hey, sorry. And that affects Dame's legacy. That's what I think's on the line this season for the Bucks. I really do.
I agree, but I remember when this pairing first came together, and I even went to a game. I went to a preseason game.
Oh, you did?
Back in LA with my mom.
Wow.
The first game that Dame and Giannis ever played together.
That's cool.
Honestly. So,
yeah.
That was cool for me to see. I was excited for that team to be together.
Me too.
Do you think this pairing can work after watching it for a year?
Okay. I don't want to be corny and not answer, but I kind of have a follow-up before I answer.
Yes.
Let's define work.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Win a championship?
No, I just mean like.
What do you mean work? But that's why. But seriously, Dave.
No, I agree. Like we have to define it, and
right?
I'm not putting champion. I think championship aspirations should be on this team, right?
Me too.
I think that's what they should be talking about within the room.
Yes.
I currently don't see them as a championship roster.
Okay.
And I'll get into why I don't see them that way.
Okay.
But I will say, seeing this work means like. We have to believe that this team has a chance.
Sure.
Last year, going into the playoffs, we were like the Bucks.
Yeah,
they don't have a chance.
Right.
I want to believe. Like I don't know if how the matchups work. Right. They might not get to the Eastern Conference Final because they might run into the Celtics before that. Right.
Sure.
But if they don't, I want to see them as a team that gets to the Eastern Conference Finals and matches up with the Celtics. Do you believe that this team can do that?
Okay. You defined it.
This pairing.
I will say yes. I still. And you know why? It's kind of everything you said earlier. Mm-hmm. And I know we're not talking all the time, but just current. These are two superstars in the league. They just are. Now you need Dame. I have more faith that Giannis bounces back from injury. I know he's been nicked up, but I have more faith in him. He's not even human. Like I'm pretty sure he's some sort of droid or something. Right. But, like Dame. If Dame's able, and I know it's a big if, right? Mm-hmm. This is what Bucks fans are saying. But if he's able to stay healthy, and he can be healthy going into the postseason, to a lesser extent, he's not a Porzingis, but like if we all say the same thing, if you could keep him healthy in the regular season and go in the postseason with him healthy, that's how I feel about Dame. If you can somehow, I don't know how you do it because they're not that deep of a team. They're not that talented of a team.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of pitch count, minutes restriction he's on. But if somehow, some way, you can get to the finish line with Dame healthy and Giannis healthy, I don't see how you can count that team out. I don't like them against the Celtics in a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. But if you told me healthy Giannis, healthy Dame beat the Sixers, healthy Giannis, healthy Dame knock off the Knicks, I can buy it. I can.
Yeah.
If you tell me that they're what they were last year and both guys are banged up, it's going to be the same result. I'll tell you what, bro. I'd put them, what were they, 3rd seed last year? And they had some
around there.
I see them in the same spot, bro, 3 or 4. If they're behind the Knicks, maybe behind the Sixers, they could be a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah. So this is what I'll say about this team and why I believe that they're not a championship roster.
Okay.
My thing is I feel like Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton are beyond their prime. I mean, Brook's 36. I don't know how old Chris is, but he looks old. He can't stay healthy.
No, they're old. They're washed.
He doesn't have the same burst. I just think that those two guys are going to hold them back. Am I excited about the other guys? Dame, Giannis, Gary Trent, Taurean Prince, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, because people get mad when I don't mention all of the players that, play for the team and everything. Like
how dare you?
I know all the players that play for the Bucks. Am I excited for a lot of these guys? Yeah. But I'm nervous about how much they rely on those two specifically.
Right.
And what I saw from them last year, and it looks like regression. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it looks
does.
like regression.
It does.
And we'll have to see because, once again, there was a lot of we don't know. We don't always have Giannis. He was hurt a lot. We don't always have Dame. He's hurt. We don't have Chris. He's hurt. There was a lot of things moving around. So it's hard for guys like that who are really, really high-level role players.
Sure.
To really find their niche. But, man, I'm not excited about this. One last thing I want to ask you about on this team. I don't want to ask about bets because who cares?
Why not? I got one. Giannis MVP 7-1.
Hey, okay. I'm cool with that.
I mean, that's a nice bet.
I want to ask you this real quick because we have to know. Is Doc Rivers the right fit for this team?
No, I'm not a Doc. Listen, bro, I'm not a Doc guy. I actually thought when they hired Doc, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But let it play out. Let it play out. I to give Doc, I guess, some grace here. I'm not sure anyone who can coach this team. It's just you just said it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of dudes. I think Middleton's washed. I think you're right. I think Lopez. I mean, these are old guys that are breaking down physically. So you're putting all your eggs in Dame and Giannis's basket. Good luck with that. And look, I don't know if Doc or anyone could do that.
Yes.
I don't. At this stage of their careers.
I'm kind of with you. I just think this team is going to come to a place. I foresee them as a team that can meet up with the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Me too.
We'll see. I think it's going to get to that point that Doc always gets to, and he's not going to be able to get the team over the hump, which he's been doing since he won that championship here in Boston.
We're going to talk about another team in this bubble, but I have the Bucks, the Knicks, who we're about to get to.
Yes.
I will put the 76ers in there.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know. I'm not there with the Cavs because I'm out on Donovan. Yeah. After last season, I'm completely out on Donovan Mitchell. Yes. I love the Magic. I don't know if they're quite there yet.
Yes.
That might be my bubble. I mean, honestly, Knicks, Sixers, and Bucks might be it in the East that I actually think have a chance to knock off Boston. Are you with me there, or would you add one more team?
No, I'm right there with you. Those are the teams that I have marked out. I know Cavs fans and Pacers fans are going to be upset at me.
And I like the Pacers too, but
I'm right there with you. Look, Travis, before we move on, I want to let you know, we're in this element where we're doing these shows. I haven't seen my boy for a long time. This show is going long. So if you're expecting 45 minutes out of us on this one, screw it. Because I need to talk Knicks.
We ain't Dame.
We got a special guest. So bring him in. It's time to talk Knicks with our boy, George Balekji. George, what's up, bro?
Man, you guys done? You gonna shut up? You gonna talk Knicks now? Oh my God.
Hey, we tried to eat the time up because we know you're going to go off about the Knicks. So the floor is yours. Go ahead and tell us they're going to win the championship. Cat's the MVP. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
Bro, I'm not out of pocket like that. I'll be the resident Knicks guy. Celtics are repeating. Fool me once, shame on me. You're not going to fool me again. We've gotten into that combo. Trav, you've been gone for a month, bro. I expect you to at least be listening while you're home, right?
Yeah, I know.
Come on now. You know me. Celtics are repeating. And you're talking about people texting you about this Karl-Anthony Towns trade.
Yeah.
Those people were me. That was me. That was three of us in this group chat. And I go to Tay, I go, yo, bring me on for banner. And he was like, one step ahead. Look, my initial reaction was, what the hell did you do? Trading Donte DiVincenzo. What are you doing bringing Karl-Anthony Towns to New York?
Yeah.
Let's get into all of it. I want to hear you guys' questions before I go on some long triage. The one thing I'm going to say, I'm happy Julius Randle is gone. It's addition by subtraction. Can't shoot further from 20 feet out. Not good defensively. This is Jalen Brunson's team. Julius Randle, thank you for everything you've done in New York. Knicks fans love you. The city loves you, but you aged out. If you learned how to shoot like Brook Lopez, you'd still be in New York. But now go enjoy Minnesota, I guess. I don't think he's done moving around.
No.
This was such a good trade for the Knicks. It's not perfect, but it's something Leon Rose had to do, especially because, bro, they're about to have Jericho Sims. Jericho effing Sims starting at center for the first few months of the season. What you guys got for me, though? Because I don't want to talk for 25 minutes like
Go ahead, Tay.
Jericho says, let's assume that this cat trade gets done sometime soon.
Please.
My starting lineup that I see is Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
Then you're going to have Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
You're going to have OG. You're going to have Josh Hart.
Yep.
And then you're going to have Cat at the 5. So
I agree.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about seeing Jericho Sims. I understand that Mitchell Robinson and his injury history, and he may not be prepared for game 1 or whatever. But I think that's the lineup that you're going to roll out with. And honestly, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm excited about that lineup because, Josh Hart at the 4 or whatever. He's one of the best rebounding guards in the entire NBA, and he's physical, and he's going to play hard for Tibbs. We know there's no question about that.
Yep.
Now, whether he plays 70 games or something like that, that'll be a question when he's battling with, Jason Tatum for 4 games a season.
Right.
He's got to fight with him and Jaylen Brown. He might be out, a little bit earlier, but, I'm not nervous about that starting 5.
Yeah.
No, I'm not at all. I think there needs to be another ad, though, because Josh Hart at the 4. Look, this is a team. If Mitchell Robinson is still on this roster by the time the season tips, or let's look after the trade deadline, because I don't think they're done adding. You either have Cat at the 4 when you go with the big ball and have Mitchell Robinson at the 5. We'll see when he returns. Or you go small ball and you lay it out. Like the 1 through 4, regardless of that, Jalen Brunson runs the offense, and they have the guys, especially Mikal and OG Anunoby, that can hide Karl-Anthony Towns defensively in the playoffs. Yeah. We all know what they're gearing up for, right? Who do you have on Tyrese Maxey? Who do you have on Paul George? They got the 2 guys to do that. Who do you put on Jason Tatum? Who do you put on Jaylen Brown? That's such a tougher defensive matchup. I'm not going to get into it. But Karl-Anthony Towns added spacing. He's a good catch and shoot shooter from 3. What I hated was Donte DiVincenzo is so efficient. And with the Minnesota Timberwolves making this move, this is a salary dump by them. Like, they saw the massive contract. They have to pay Ant-Man, and they know the second apron's coming down. This is a cowardly move by the Timberwolves. At least get 1 ring before you pay the taxes. The Knicks will take it. But to give up Donte DiVincenzo, I wish there was a smell of desperation, because DDV is one of the best catch and shoot shooters in the league. If you go 3-point attempts per 100 possessions, he's just behind Steph Curry in attempts and shooting 40% from those. And he's not great on contested shots, but he gets so many open looks because of the offense that he works in. And it would have been the same with Cat on the floor. But you also trade Donte DiVincenzo because he knows he was going to be unhappy with his role, because you bring in Bridges and that eats into his minutes. Deuce McBride now has to step up. And Donte DiVincenzo is such a good defender. That's why I hate he goes. I don't think they are done making moves either. The Knicks have to add another wing. As crazy as it sounds, you make this move to become the second best team in the East. You make this move to have the shooters to keep up with the Celtics, the wings to defend them on the perimeter, and you have that dog and you have that leader in Jalen Brunson. You're giving the keys to the mansion to JB, and I absolutely love that for the Knicks. Him and Julius Randle could not be in the same ecosystem on the floor. And when they made the trade last year to get OG, loved the addition. That should have been Randall going to Toronto, not RJ Barrett. Because, again, RJ Barrett is a shooter. And when this offense got stagnant, you needed a bailout from an RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. Julius Randle wasn't healthy. There is a huge X factor in all this. And this is what the F does Tibbs do with this roster? Because you guys know me. If he runs them into the ground, I don't care. Get him out of New York. But they have everything aligned. This was such a good trade for the Knicks. You can't say it enough. It's tough to see DiVincenzo go away. But, hey, that's going to be a big ad for Anthony Edwards, man. Another good shooter, someone that can help him out. And defensively, when they go small ball in the West, helps him out as well, especially matching up with OKC.
As far as Tibbs goes, I don't think it's a question of if he runs them into the ground. I think he's going to run them into the ground because that's what he does. And, in fact, it's one of the reasons why I just don't believe the Knicks will beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. I mean, I think by the time they see them, because of seeding, we could be looking at an Eastern Conference final. And I just think that team, just like last season, George, will be bubble gum and duct taped together. And they can't get to the finish line healthy. And I think that's what's going to doom them. In fact, here's how bold I am. If you told me, or I can make a bet on the Knicks to be the 1 seed in the East, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I put my money down on that.
Now, with the trade?
Yes. I would be shocked.
I would bet that. I would bet that.
I wouldn't be
shocked. You don't know what you're going to get from Porzingis, and you don't know what you're going to get from Joel Embiid.
True.
The Knicks can get the 1 TT. I'm not worried about the Knicks getting the 1 seed. Right. I'm worried about, are they going to have healthy bodies? Because that is why they lost to the Indiana Pacers. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart were hanging on by a thread, and that's why I hate Tibbs. Sorry to cut you off, T.
No, but that's where I'm going.
I'm not regular season with any of this, man. It's getting a ring in New York.
That's right.
You could be God if you're Tibbs. He has to eat his ego and stop running guys into the ground.
Yeah. So, look, George, I have to ask you this because this trade has been talked about, and you talked about not having a center. Cat will be at the 5, right? I'm assuming, based off of Tibbs' history, playing small ball, whatever. So, Precious Achiuwa would be the 3rd center on this team with Mitchell Robinson still here. There are trade talks for Trey Murphy from the Pelicans coming to New York in lieu of Mitchell Robinson going over there, because you and I had talked about how they need a big out in New Orleans really bad. So would Trey Murphy change your mind? And then obviously having Precious being the backup big now change your mind about this Knicks team?
It's gearing up to stop the Celtics, and I would take Trey Murphy over Mitchell Robinson. There's defensive versatility, and that's what you need. It's not conventional basketball. And can Karl-Anthony Towns just be serviceable on defense? Can he be smart? Can he buy in? Can he be smart, period? Like, no late game dumb offensive fouls on the other end of the floor.
Yeah.
Play within the system. No, you're not going to be the guy. The good thing for Karl-Anthony Towns, you don't have to worry about his late game shot taking. Jalen Brunson's that dude. It's just he's 6'1". He's an undersized point guard. But if you bring in a Trey Murphy, I said it, and you're right, Tay. I would love that Trey Murphy trade. Mitchell Robinson's been injured. Tom Thibodeau doesn't help with that. You bring in Trey Murphy, that is more defensive depth. That's a lot of defensive versatility. That could be a guy in the second unit with Miles McBride. Like, that is huge. You can go 7 deep in the playoffs. If you get something out of Precious, you can be 8 deep, like actually 8 deep. I would love that Trey Murphy addition. And I wouldn't sleep on more moves being made at the deadline. There's other centers out there. There are bodies. Just give me bodies. Give me bodies at the 5. Give me one rim protector, because that's fine. You don't have a good rim protector right now, but give me something there.
Yeah, I think Cat deserves some credit too, George. And you sort of alluded to this in that, he doesn't have to be the man. But I thought he did a really good job in Minnesota of sort of sharing that spotlight, and now we know it's all on Anthony Edwards. But I think he showed he can be a Robin to a Batman. So I think he comes into New York. No one in New York's worried about that. It's Brunson's team. There's no question. And Cat can be a nice complementary piece. Let me ask you this before we let you go. Give me a realistic sort of finish point for the Knicks. What are your expectations? You said you think the Celtics got them in a 7-game series. So how do you sort of see the Knicks playing out? Are we talking Eastern Conference Finals here?
Yeah, I'll go Eastern Conference Finals. I don't trust Joel Embiid. Now, if Joel Embiid is contained to 55 games in the regular season, then I got to change my mind. But right now, this Knicks team, but like, if I got to talk about Joel Embiid not being healthy, I got to talk about what Tom Thibodeau does to this roster. I don't know if they're going to be in the playoffs, and I hate that. Let's say, though, let's say they're healthy as can be. Everyone's banged up in the postseason. Knicks take the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. Celtics will beat the Knicks. I'm not worried about the Pacers. I am worried about the Sixers. I'm not worried about the Magic. I'm not worried about those teams. I'm not worried about the Cavs. It's the Celtics, the 76ers, and the Knicks. Those are the 3 teams in the East. The Knicks and the 76ers are chasing Lucky the Leprechaun. They're chasing that clover, and they're chasing the Celtics. I think they take the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not going to give you a game on it yet. One thing I am worried about, though, like I don't know, it can't be ignored, man. I don't know how online Karl-Anthony Towns is, but when he goes from doing post-game interviews like this to saying, "You like this? That's what we're about." My guy's online. What do you think New York's going to do to him? What do you think New York is going to – we're not Midwest nice. I'm from Jersey. I'm not going to claim I'm from New York. We're all cut from the same cloth. We're not Minnesota nice. We're not Midwest nice. We don't put up with no BS. You say some dumb stuff on a podcast like, we did more in 4 years than the Warriors. Like, what do you – so that's what I'm worried about, man.
Yeah.
That pressure will be legit. New York, Boston, and Philly are different beasts. If you win there, you are God. You are a God. I'm worried about Cat.
Ountae, he's got a high-profile girlfriend too, right? Who's his girlfriend?
Jordan Woods.
Jordan Woods.
Oh,
so listen, Cat's got to be careful in New York too. You got to be careful of scandals out there, Cat. You got to keep your head on a swivel now. So that's a good point. That'll be something to watch. Tay, what's the thing you always make fun of with him when he says
after all that?
Exactly. Yo, guys, I'm not kidding you. It took less than 2 hours after the trade to go down for those videos to be DM'd in my group chat with my boys back home. And they are much more diehard Knicks fans. Like, they are diehard Knicks fans. I'm just a residential Knicks guy, right? I love Jalen Brunson. But, like, that stuff's going to keep coming up. Just be smart. And, Kat, no, you don't have to be that guy. If he embraces his role and doesn't try to put more pressure on than he has to, things can go well. No matter what, bro, it's going to be Celtics back in the finals. But make magic happen at MSG. That'd be big for Kat.
There he is, George Balekji. You can actually catch us on Boston has entered the chat as well. Check it out on Nessen's YouTube page, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you follow us as well on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. Of course, George will come back here on Banner from time to time just so we can all yell at each other at the same time. It's riveting content. I love you, GB. Thank you, brother.
After all that,
on the way out, he's
that's a nice mic drop from George.
It is. So look, I want to ask you this. We'll talk more about the trade once it's officially done.
Yes.
Right. I want to ask you this because it's been going around. There have been some clips, some from Media Day, some from some random podcasts.
Okay.
Are they tripping? I need to know. Are these people tripping? Okay. So former NFL wide receiver Deshaun Jackson said if Jeff Teague can do what he did in the NBA, then Deshaun Jackson himself can play in the league. Is he tripping?
Yeah, he's tripping. Jeff Teague is not a scrub. What's he talking about? He's acting like Jeff Teague is trash. Now, look, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying Jeff Teague's some all-time great.
No.
But Jeff Teague was fine. He was, for what he was, Tay, he was a role-playing guard in the league, right?
Yeah.
Journeyman, like, he...
All-star 1 year. Don't forget about that.
I know,
All-star
but let's relax. You know what I mean? Like, now you're saying, like, so look, I'm in between you and Deshaun here. Because Deshaun's making this guy trash.
Hold on.
You're just throwing the All-Star out like, he did make the All-Star. Who gives a rat's ass? He was a solid player. He wasn't some perennial All-Star. Like,
no, not perennial, but he was an All-Star one year.
One time. I mean, he was all right. He was all right.
He was a good player.
He was all right.
He was a good player.
So, I think Deshaun – look, I covered Deshaun in D.C. No one loves Deshaun Jackson more than Deshaun Jackson.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Okay? I got some stories offline for you, Auntae. Okay. I can tell you if you're
talk about it after the show.
Because I know y'all L.A. boys, y'all stick together.
Yeah.
So I want to slander your man here on camera.
Okay.
But I'll tell you some things off camera.
Yeah.
But – he's disrespecting Jeff Teague.
Nah,
if I'm Jeff Teague, I'm like, what the hell did I do? What is the problem? I like Jeff Teague.
It's like that 50 Cent meme. What do you say F me
what
for?
Did I do? Facts. I'm looking up Teague's career numbers.
Nah, they're not
ain't great.
They're not great.
He averaged 12 points a game.
12 and 5.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
he
saying?
was all right, bro.
Shooting 36 from 3. Like, that's a good player.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's a good NBA player.
He's not a scrub.
So for him to say, like, if Jeff Teague could do what he did in the league, then I could be in the league, like, that's disrespectful. I don't think D-Jax could score 5 points a game in the NBA, and, like, there's a lot of great – even if he focused, he's a great athlete. He's fast, one of the fastest NFL players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, facts.
But
electric.
I don't think I think he thinks the game is easy. I can make a couple of transition layups, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, you got to get on the court first, dog. And that's hard to do. When, he was talking to Lou Will in that podcast clip or whatever, and Lou Will was like, Peyton Pritchard is a under 6 foot guard,
right?
Who would torch you. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, it doesn't have like elite level athleticism.
Right.
Like, he would put you in a blender and have you wondering, like, dang, is this basketball stuff really for me?
Right.
And Peyton Pritchard's a really good NBA player. He didn't see the minutes or time that Jeff Teague got in the league. So don't disrespect Jeff Teague. So he's definitely tripping.
Hoopers know hoopers, bro. That's why you know he's tripping. Because y'all hoopers have respect for other hoopers. And for this football guy to come in here talking that mess is BS. Who else you got?
Last one. This dude right here.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Andre Drummond. I am the best rebounder to ever play the game. From Andre Drummond. This was coming out of Media Day. So when you were telling me Media Day was boring, I was like, I got a tweet for you to show you. Is he tripping?
You know why I said it's boring? No one paid no damn mind to know Andre Drummond talking about this nonsense here. It's Dennis Rodman and everyone knows it. I mean, please. Andre Drummond's not even a better rebounder. I'd rather have Ben Wallace.
He's not top 5.
I don't even think
he's top 10. To be honest with you.
Yeah, me
all
either.
Time.
If he is, he's 10.
Yeah.
Or he's honorable mention.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Drummond fan.
Yeah.
But, like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
All time. You're the GOAT rebounder.
Yeah.
Really? Really?
He's tripping. He's tripping.
He's tripping. They both tripping. Deshaun Jackson's tripping more, I think.
Yes. He's not, and he's not a better big than this guy. I have to obviously talk about this.
Yeah, no doubt.
We lost a great
we did.
This past week. Dikembe Mutombo.
Yep.
I need you to start this one off and talk about
Yeah,
him,
I mean, obviously his impact, even beyond the game. I mean, look, bro, I'm looking right now. I'll just say it while we're talking about this. Mm-hmm. His resume is incredible. Yeah. Ountae, this is incredible. 8-time All-Star, All-NBA second team, 2-time All-NBA third team, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
There was a period there, no one even tried Mount Mutombo. You just didn't even think about going into the paint. This wasn't back in the day when you're shooting threes from the parking lot. Cats used to attack the rim, and they were deterred because of Mount Mutombo.
Yeah.
3-time All-Defensive first team, 3-time All-Defensive second team, All-Defensive or All-Rookie first team, 2-time, we're talking about rebounders, led the league in rebounds twice, 3 times blocks leader.
Yep.
I mean, the resume. Now, offensively, he was not gifted. Defensively, Dikembe is one of the GOATs all time, one of the greatest defensive players of all time. That's on the court.
Yeah.
Tay, you know where I'm from, brother. That DMV, Georgetown, he is a god, okay, for on the court and off the court. We know all the philanthropic things he's done for basketball off the court, internationally, okay? So this guy's legacy, I said this, I think he, in a sense, lives forever because of what he accomplished on the floor and also how he touched so many people off of it in terms of his light and what he brought to society, not just basketball, to society. Dikembe will live forever for that.
He definitely will. And, the Congolese basketball player coming from where he came from, like, people talk about coming from the bottom, like that was really the bottom,
yes,
know?
Literally.
And for him to ascend to NBA stardom and be as great of a light as he was, he could, you hear about a lot of people, they change when that happens to them, right? They get money, they get this fame, all this other stuff. Anybody that I know that has met this man has nothing but great things to say about him. He's such a great light in so many different places. Me and you were talking about him yesterday when this happened, and we were just like, we don't even know what city endears him the most.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We couldn't decide which NBA team, loves Dikembe the most because he's done so many great things in so many places. Denver, Atlanta, you know what I mean? Houston to end his career. I even saw him as such a good 76er player and light because of his short stint with them. And he was only there for 2 years. You know what I mean? Not even 2 full seasons. So Dikembe, man, I hope you're resting easy. We appreciate everything that you share with us, all the great moments, all the laughs that you gave everybody, from the people who knew you to the people who didn't. You always were a great touch point for NBA fans and people to get into the basketball as a whole. So thank you so much for that.
I think that's well said, and I think this is a good place to end it. For Travis Thomas and Ountae Campbell, here on Hold My Banner, we honor basketball and we honor the greats, and so we go out honoring the late, great Dikembe Mutombo.